Hey y'all, it's Jenny from Flow. I am coming at you this morning from the sauna, one of my favorite places in the world. And I wanted to just connect this morning and talk to you some about mindset. So, mindset is, we know what mindset is, right? Mindset is the place your mind is at when you're doing whatever it is you're doing. And it makes a difference in how you perceive what you're doing. So you could be, say doing some personal hygiene and it could feel like a chore, like, oh, I have to get this done and I don't want to. Or it could be such a pleasure that you're taking time for yourself and caring for yourself, and it's a wonderful thing. So any task that we can think of, whether it's doing dishes or working out or doing some kind of daily thing that needs to be done every day, we can look at it as a chore, a task, a have to, or we can look at it as a get to. This is something I get to do. And so if anything that we need to do, we can take it to a degree where that task becomes a practice. So we're feeding the chickens, we're washing dishes, whatever it is, and it becomes a practice, and you want to do it as well as possible, and you want to focus on what you're doing. And so when I say a practice, it can be a spiritual practice. Washing dishes can be a spiritual practice, and so if it's time for yourself that you're taking and you're enjoying being in a good mind space while you're doing it, and you're caring for yourself, you're caring for your family, it's something that you want to be doing, then you're in a great mind space when you do it, and it makes all the difference in what you're doing. I know for myself, my mind space has shifted a lot over the years. It was a slow shift that took a long time and a lot of conscious effort, but I've shifted a lot over time in regards to working out, for instance. So working out for me, I was always an athlete as a like in junior high, high school, college, and so working out was always a have to. It was a work. It was like work because I was working out because I was competing, and so so in order to get a faster time, to get a better place in a race or whatever, that was why I was working out. And although I loved being fit and I loved working out and I loved the camaraderie of it and all of that, there was a piece of it that was not a get to but a have to. And so after college, I had space to kind of not feel like I needed to. I could do whatever I wanted as far as working out goes, and I got into yoga and got into other things that were not competitive, and that was wonderful for me and really opened my body in a lot of fantastic ways, and opened my mind and opened my emotions and allowed me to really shift my relationship with my body in a lot of ways. But then I wanted more, or I wanted to get it back, into something more vigorous, and eventually I came around to CrossFit, which I love, and I've been doing CrossFit for I think over 15 years at this point. But CrossFit really kind of stirred up my competitive nature, and also, and I always with competitive exercise, it doesn't matter, so with CrossFit, it's set up to be competitive, for that to be an inspiration for you. So, so you're always tracking times, tracking weights, and you're always getting better. In your first, 2-3 years of CrossFit, you're always making gains. And, I started CrossFit in my mid-30s, and so I was making gains and also doing things that I couldn't do, that I never was able to do in my 20s or in my late teens. And it was so inspiring and so exciting. So you even can be competing against yourself, or competing against your past self. And, you don't have to be, entering into competitions and of course you can always be competing against other people at the gym, or other people that are posting on the app. And like actually when I started CrossFit, I don't think we were posting on an app because that was a long time ago. But anyway, the point is, but there was always a whiteboard, right? You were always posting your scores, your times. So either competing against yourself or competing against others, and that sort of thing. So, but for me, there was always this tension of having to perform, having to be better than I was last time, or better than somebody else, or something like that, which took a little bit of the potential joy out of it, because there was that tension and that pressure that I was putting on myself. So for years then, and it took me years to really shift around this, I kind of stepped out of the gym a little bit. I would not work out at the gym. I would work out at home, but I was still tracking my time, still trying to do better. So basically the first step was I wasn't competing against other people as much as I was just competing against myself, or wanting to maintain my own fitness or levels of strength or whatever. But then, always with something that you do over time, especially with CrossFit, and especially, as time goes by and you're not a 20-year-old or even 30-year-old athlete anymore, then rest time becomes more important than time in the gym, or time actually doing, you need more recovery and less input, so there's that shift that happens. But for me, eventually though, I needed to shift my relationship with what I was doing at all and why I was doing it. And so that shift came, and again, slowly over time, but eventually that shift came where I was not competing against myself. My past self was no longer informing what I should do, what I needed to do. It wasn't creating these have-tos. And instead I shifted more toward, I was doing this, this was a favor I was paying forward to my future self. I wanted to be able to maintain the capacity to do these exercises well into my later years. And so if I was going to do that, what then was the priority as far as, any given workout? Was it important to power through that workout, or was it important to, maybe take it back a notch and spend more energy attending to recovery and that kind of thing? So that shift happened, and like I said, again, it wasn't an instant overnight shift. It was because, and I guess part of it is, especially with exercise, exercise isn't in your body thing, and your beliefs and subconscious and your motivations and those sorts of things are, that subconscious stuff is very alive in the physical body. So I would start moving and doing workouts, and would pull up those old stories, the old reels of being competitive and being better, trying harder, that kind of thing. So I think that that's part of why it took quite some time to make that shift, because I would start doing burpees, running, doing clean and jerks, whatever it was, and that movement would pull up, an old story about being competitive. But I can say with fair certainty at this point that that my working out is coming from a different place now. It's coming from a place of what I'm doing right now is a gift. Like I said, it's a gift I'm paying forward to my future self, and so that I continue to have youthfulness and strength and abilities well into my later years. So anyway, so the point of that story is that my mindset has shifted around working out, and working out is completely a get to now instead of a have to. And it's a privilege, and I love that I have time and space in my life for it, and that I've created that, and it's something I enjoy so much. And part of this process of thinking about mindset and shifting mindset on any given topic is actually, in reality, mindset, I think of it more now actually as heart set. It's the heart space you're in when you're doing something, and because it's the heart that dictates, that creates the energetic feel or the emotional lens that you perceive your world through. And so if your heart space, and if your heart and mind are then in the same space, but if your heart space is one of connection, is one of love, is one of what else is there? That sort of wonderful, open, caring, giving heart space, where you're not separating yourself from others. So to be competitive, you're separating yourself from others. There's a me and there's you, and we're separate and we're different and we're against each other. Whereas being in a more open heart space, then something can be, we're doing this together. I'm doing this for you, or I'm receiving something from someone, or it's a joy to connect, and connecting with others elevates the experience instead of disconnecting from others, kind of pushing the experience, if that makes sense. So heart space is really the thing, whether you're working out or whether you're doing dishes or whatever. So what is your heart space, and how are you perceiving what you're doing through that emotional lens of the heart? And so here's what I want to leave you with today, some thoughts and some action you can take in this direction. Consider things that you already have in your life that put you automatically in a good heart space. And for sure these things exist, whether it's seeing flowers, or connecting with a loved one, or it can be, for me, one of the things is watching the chickens eat leftover sushi. Okay, it's a totally random, weird thing, but it is such a delight to me because it's so funny to me to see these chickens eating sushi. I don't know why, but as if they've ordered it from the sushi restaurant, and here it is, and now they're enjoying sushi. Anyway, so you can see I love feeding the chickens leftover sushi. I don't buy them sushi so that I can feed it to them, but if there's leftover, we're not going to eat it the next day. The chickens get it, and it's a delight for me. So anyway, there are these things that just make you laugh or make you happy or whatever when they happen. Or looking at the mountains, or going for a walk, or whatever it is, these things. So here's some action that you can take for yourself, that I invite you to take for yourself, which is to find 3 more things. Either 3 things that you already know exist for you that put you in a good heart space, or come up with 3 things. You can identify 3 things, like when I see a tree, it puts me in a good heart space, and practice being in a good heart space. Or whatever it is, when something that you see every day, something that you do every day or whatever is a great thing, because you come into contact with that thing often, and it puts you into a good heart space. And that's the practice, getting yourself into a good heart space and staying there. And when you notice yourself slipping out of it, then you can bring that image up again. Bring up that image of chickens eating sushi, or bring up that image of seeing a tree or birds or whatever it is, and get yourself back to that good heart space. And then you practice moving through your day, doing your day-to-day things in a good heart space, and everything becomes a get to instead of a have to, and everything becomes a joy. And so that's what I want to leave you with from the sauna here this morning on this wonderful get to Sunday morning, as I'm starting to drip sweat. So I should sign off before I drench the phone. But so blessings to you on this beautiful day, and I hope you enjoy your process of practicing getting into a wonderful heart space. Blessings.